Hit.
And we have started, so you're good to go, Jeremy.
There you go. Okay, so I hope this is working. I'm used to other platforms. So my name is Jeremy Porter. I go by pronouns he, him. I'm at Lunenburg campus in Bridgewater, and I thank you for joining our webinar today for IT programming. I have two other fantastic people with me. You'll see some content on the presentation about who they are in a little bit, but maybe I'll invite Nadia and Blair to come forward and say hello. Okay. So basically, welcome you to an eCampus webinar for the IT programming credential. But before we begin, I'd just like to recognize that we here are on Mi'kma'ki, the unceded ancestral home of the Mi'kmaq Nation. And as treaty members, we want to recognize that we have agreements dating back to this population from 1725, and that we all have responsibilities as treaty people to learn and engage and to do more in the minds of peace and friendship. In regards to our African Nova Scotian colleagues and friends, we also recognize that the NSCC is on the lands that were immigrated by a group about 400 years ago, and this group of distinct learners has found its way through our society in a number of different ways. And as they've done so, they've done this with care and integration with our infrastructure and economic wealth. And we all want to recognize that we have African Nova Scotians as well as Mi'kma'ki persons as equity deserving groups in our learning community. So what I would like to do is just walk you through a basic presentation here. I'm going to ask Blair and Natty to jump in at certain points. And in case you weren't already aware, we are recording this session. And we have a moderator behind the scenes named Jason. And we also have some persons moderating the chat. Personally, I can't see that here because I'm in presenter mode right now. But we do want to make this as interactive and as engaging for those persons who are able to join us. And we'll also hope that the recording is beneficial to those who may join in the future. And one of the favorite things I'd like to start with is just recognition of like this person here. She can learn anywhere from the entire world. IT programming is an international community of learners, and the technology is essentially the same regardless of where we are located globally. And with eCampus, you can absolutely learn from anywhere you are in this wonderful planet. So please look forward to exploring eCampus as you move along. If you're new to this platform, I think Jason mentioned a few different things in the chat or the preamble piece to it. But again, we do welcome your questions in the chat session over here. And as we're moving through the content, if I'm speaking too fast, if you have any questions, absolutely feel free to interact, and we'll certainly address your question because we want to make sure that you are receiving the information that's beneficial to you. Myself and Blair welcome any questions as well through our email addresses, which are displayed on the screen. And we are basically connected to the IT programming credential at Lunenburg campus in Bridgewater, and more specifically for today with the eCampus. So again, I thank you for behalf of the college for choosing to join us today. So first, I'd like to start with some basics about the eCampus learning environment, just so you maybe already things you know or maybe thought you knew. So we'll kind of guide you through those really quickly, and then we'll move into some other topic areas. But to begin with, a lot of words on the screen. It's going to take a second for your eyes to go, whew, that is a lot. If you're not otherwise unaware, the eCampus operates in two kind of delivery models. One is asynchronous delivery, which basically means that you have the ability to learn on your own accord. You can log in when you wish, engage in the course and as you wish, with the structure from your faculty and the technology and support. Other programs like the IT programming credential have a synchronous delivery, which basically means that you're going to expecting to have scheduled interactive classes. In that, we're going to explain this a little bit further down the line, but these courses are recorded with consent from the students but we very much highly encourage live and interactive engagement from our students and also through our faculty. eCampus has a network of advisors or student services advisors for the longer version of our title. My name again is Jeremy, so I happen to be the advisor for the eCampus, specifically for IT programming, and I'll address a little bit more about who I am and what I can do for our students as we move along. We have 3 amazing faculty for this program. We have Nadia here with us today, a gentleman named Sim who's unable to attend at the beginning, but he may be able to join us later on. And then we have a new gentleman named Russell who joined the team about 2 weeks ago. So we're starting to integrate him to our eCampus learning environment for the IT programming credential. Nadia, Sim, and Russell are all guided and mentored and supported by a gentleman named Blair Lipset, who has a title of an academic chair. And again, we'll get a little bit more into that particular role as we move along. If you weren't aware, eCampus currently has over 2,100 registered learners taking courses and or programs to the betterment of their futures. And so those 2,100 people need support, be that from faculty, library, our finance team, and so on. eCampus itself is into its 4th full year of operation, I believe, right now. And we have 30 staff at the NSCC who are designated to work with eCampus in a different position. And then there's a lot of persons like Blair and myself who have a responsibility at a physical campus and also with eCampus as well. So that's quite common with the eCampus network as of right now, because again, we're in our 4th year of operation. However, eCampus students have the absolute same network of student support, scholarships and bursaries, student life opportunities, all sorts of ways to engage within and without their program being a particular focus. So we have seminars and sessions. We have live interactive things called e-meetups on a regular basis. So even though you're registered in an online learning environment, it can be highly interactive and supported with many other persons. Continuing the basics overview, with eCampus, you're basically going to be in your own driver's seat as a learner, right? So you can set up your own individual learning environment. Maybe that's at a kitchen table, which may not be the best kind of recommendation for your friends and family here. There are a lot of students who kind of take their laptop and they move around their community, right? So possibly getting away from a distraction at home, like at that kitchen table, might be conducive to your learning to go to a coffee shop or a public library. Essentially, like I said from the very beginning, if you have a stable Wi-Fi connection and a reliable computer, you're ready to be an eCampus learner. We do have a lot of eCampus students that choose to go to a physical campus like Lunenburg. So again, for example, we must have 5 or 6 eCampus students that I can think of without really any real strain on my brain who choose to come into Lunenburg campus here in Bridgewater, and allows them to provide some focus, right? So again, those home distractions can be something to consider as you're moving through your decision-making process. But when a student is on campus, we have physical libraries, many computer terminals, things on campus that may interact or interest them, student life initiatives and so on. And then the last little piece, I guess, of the eCampus overview is that we really highly encourage every single eCampus student to purchase a PC-based machine. If that's a desktop or laptop, that's on your own kind of decision-making kind of model there. But we really highly encourage that you avoid a MacBook or any Apple product, along with any kind of Chromebook. It's very highly specific to the IT programming credential, but more so for every single program, please, please, please try to choose a PC-based system. And the last little thing on this slide, friends, is that the work experiences, the college is sort of framed and branded as a hands-on college, which is absolutely true for a lot of cases, and that is absolutely true for eCampus as well. So in this particular program, which you'll see in more detail in a little bit, we do have 2 placements whereby students go off to industry for a work placement. We have optional co-ops as well, which we'll address in more detail. So you absolutely will have physical, hands-on, real-world experience as you advance in this particular program. And I hope I'm not going too fast. I hope I'm not going too slow. So again, if there is somebody who wants to make sure I'm okay, that would be great. But I'll go on to learn, show you a little bit about our IT programming team. So this is me, in case you can't see me on your screen. So I happen to be in the office here. I'm a 3-time alumni of the NSCC. Again, my name is Jeremy Porter. I'm an advisor here at Lunenburg campus for around 230 students or so. And I've had the pleasure of working with eCampus in a variety of roles over my history at the college. I've been working with NSCC since 2001. And essentially what I try to be is that go-to person for support and service for this particular program. Whenever I'm not the NSCC, one of my favorite places is Green Bay Beach. So that's down on the South Shore. So that's my little profile picture at the beach. We have Blair Lipset here, so he might want to jump in, but what I've scratched out for the particular presentation here is that Blair also likes beaches. He's also an avid cyclist and a basketball fan for the Chicago Bulls, so we're off to a great start, Blair. I'm sorry for that. But it is what it is, and he has served the NSCC in many ways, faculty, but also an academic chair for the past 9 years. And like I mentioned earlier, Blair has the split role like myself here at Lunenburg campus, in Bridgewater, and eCampus. Blair, would you like to add anything, my friend, or you're okay? I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. All right, so Nadia is with us as well. So Nadia is a new faculty member for the NSCC. She started her faculty journey about 2 months ago, roughly. So she currently has a lot of great credentials, bachelor and master's level in electrical and computer engineering. And because she likes to keep busy, she's working on her MSc. She has pivoted really well from what I've experienced and what I've seen and what I've heard from our students to join the faculty team here at the campus. And she has a great set of experience that Blair and I don't have, in that she's been international with work history, and she can bring that to our learning environment. And I'm not sure if she's able to jump on here or not, but I'm just looking to see maybe, Nadia, if you'd like to add anything to that or comment maybe about how you're enjoying your eCampus journey.
Yes, hello, and thank you so much, Jeremy, for introducing me. And thank you so much for asking about my experience with eCampus. Actually, my experience with eCampus has been truly amazing. Even though it is online, it effectively brings people together for learning. I was surprised at how the technology can help to bring people together for learning, as I mentioned, and to stay connected and interactive. And everyone that feels like that they are able to engage, despite being in different locations and different places. Honestly, eCampus shows a great example on how the technology can do that, can bridge gaps, and can make learning both accessible and engaging for everyone, especially for the courses that involve the programming. It is like a learning experience to study or to work overseas. It gives this feels like the first hand impression on a remote working opportunities. So it is not more than it is more than just a study platform. It is a community where we can grow together. So thank you so much, and yeah, I really thank you for being here with you. Thank you.
Awesome. See, I love the energy. Gosh, love you. It's great. Awesome. And I thought I saw a chat pop up that Blair seems to be having some microphone issues, so that's why he didn't pipe in there, folks. So we have Sim. He's also with us. He currently leads the second year content for the IT program credential. I don't believe he's online yet. He had an outside appointment that we're trying to schedule around here. So forgive me if he is here, and I don't see him as a participant yet.
Hi, Jeremy, it's Jason here. I'm just going to jump in for a second. I need to add Sim as a panelist. If you can, actually, I've got his last name right there. I'm going to shoot him a message right now.
Okay, perfect. No, sounds good. Yeah, okay, no worries. So this is Sim's second year with the NSCC. Again, he's fantastic. He's a great guy, highly interactive with his students, supportive of their learning with eCampus. He did start his NSCC journey in 2021 in a faculty role with another campus known as COGS, or the Center of Geographic Sciences. And that's where he had the IT programming there. And he moved off to eCampus effective last year. So Sim is kind of unique in that he guided our first year program and now he's seeing those exact same students, or the majority of them, who have advanced to the second year curriculum. And I should pause, I guess, and say by majority, what I mean is we've had the luxury of having new students choose the eCampus from a physical campus in the first year. So we've had some folks say, I would like to do an eCampus experience. Can we admit them into the second year content? And we did. And so, yeah, he has some fresh new faces with him. And I do know that, nope, Sim is actually not here. So I was going to toss him a couple of questions there, everyone. So maybe I'll skip that. And I do know, that's referencing skiing here, that he was a faculty member at CDI Montreal as well before NSCC. So we won't hold that against him. Okay, so a little bit of just generic basic support. eCampus is actually supported by real humans who absolutely care about your journey as a learner. It sounds a little silly when I say it out loud, but we absolutely have a great team in the Student Services Network here ready to support all of our eCampus learners. We have an assistant registrar, the person who guides a lot of our enrollment records. He works with Jason and a few others, but he's kind of the lead for that work. Every NSCC has a counseling kind of resource, and the way eCampus works is we don't have a designated person. So instead we make a referral to the physical campus nearest you. And in the case that you're not in Nova Scotia, or if you're not near a physical campus, we provide online counseling through another platform called Microsoft Teams, which is still highly secure and confidential, but it is quite beneficial and positive. We've used that quite a bit when the COVID era was going and ravaging through our college. Our manager for eCampus is Andrew Hillaire. We have a library as well for eCampus, which shouldn't maybe surprise you too much, but again, that is at a physical location. So you can absolutely visit, the Pictou campus and use their library as an eCampus learner. But we have a designated librarian named Chris Sheehy, who just happens to work at Lunenburg campus as well. And then for those from two different equity deserving groups, we have Javier Gordon and currently Shawnee Laporte, or Shawnee Sillyboy, sorry. Shawnee's currently working into a new role, so we're looking to replace her as an Indigenous support person, but we are working on that position with a posting about 2 weeks ago. So my role is the Student Service Advisor. I work at Lunenburg campus from weekdays 8 to 4. I'm available by phone, text messages. We have another software system which you can send me instant messages. I suppose if we had carrier pigeons, so you could reach me by a carrier pigeon. I've had the luxury of working and studying with the NSCC for over 22 years now, so I absolutely know how eCampus operates over and above the program. And I look forward to connecting you to many resources as you choose to hopefully register with us. I can help you navigate the waters of the NSCC. I go a lot into the academic advising sort of work with Blair and our faculty friends, so I can help make sure that you're aware of all your program requirements, which of course we're going to get to here in a little bit. I help a lot of students with financial questions, resources, and strategies to be a strong, successful student, which has its own unique challenges with eCampus. And again, the NSCC has a rich network of resources, and so I'm a person that kind of sniffs that out a little bit and tries to make sure that you are aware of all these great resources. My focus is on the program for IT programming, and I work within the group, so if our faculty see a certain need, I can interact and engage as a full group of learners, be that within the first and or second year. But I absolutely do a lot of great individual things as well, so all those individual strategies and resources and techniques to be a strong student. Recognize that as a 2-year program, you're going to hit one of those bumps in the road, right? So I can be a person that can help you resolve the impact of those bumps and to explore the options that can help you soften the landing. And lastly, what I try to do is make sure that you're aware that you can absolutely reach out to me if you want through email or text or phone. My contact information was provided earlier. It will be provided near the end. I can help you go through the application process if that helps you. I can help you explain everything as you register all the way through to completion of your program. We have 2 fantastic gentlemen here who work with accessibility services. So those are some of the special resources that we also have at the campus, specific to eCampus. And depends on your funding stream. It doesn't matter necessarily right now, but you have the great gentleman named Quinn or Chris who are here to help you. What they basically do is that if you are a student who has a physical, mental, and/or learning challenge or learning difference, we highly encourage that you self-disclose on your application form. Once you self-disclose and once you're admitted, Quinn or Chris will reach out to you for an initial conversation. Once they see some documentation from you, we'll explain what that means. They create basically what we call an accommodation agreement. And that can be different things for different students. It could provide extra time for testing. It could provide more resources for tutoring. It just really depends on that individual person, what they may need. Everything that you'll do with anybody in student services and or any other position within the college is kept in confidence between you and that person. And then we obviously ask you for your consent when we kind of take away an accessibility conversation and move you to an advising conversation, for example. However, Quinn and Chris are highly interactive with our faculty, so those accommodation agreements are developed in concert with our faculty. So if Quinn and Chris say you need a certain memory aid, for an example, they're going to ask the faculty if that's okay first, based upon the industry standard regulations. That may not matter so much with the IT programming credential, but it does for other programs. And if you're a person who has questions about accessibility, you can absolutely ask it in the chat. You can also absolutely reach out to Quinn or Chris through the email on the screen, which is accessibility@ecampus.nscc.ca. So that's actually accessibility.ecampus. Two ads. Typo on the slideshow. Okay, and if you're from an equity deserving group, so we have two designated ones, so Indigenous, Métis, or Aboriginal, and then African Nova Scotian, African descent, and or Black and Nova Scotians. We have certain specialists that can help you from a cultural standpoint move through your program. We also have a rich, robust series of support for international students. And then we also support our 2SL LGBTQIA+ members in a number of different ways. So earlier, for example, I mentioned my pronouns, my preferred names, and we absolutely respect that with all of our students as well. So if you come from one of those equity deserving groups, we highly again encourage that you self-disclose on the application form, and that will lead you to a conversation with these specialists to help you navigate certain specific resources that may help you. And again, the NSCC is structured with a lot of policies and processes that we really want to respect, that we have a positive learning environment for everyone. So that's staff to staff, that's student to student, and obviously it's staff and student to each other. So we definitely see that also emulated with our eCampus, and you'll see that as you choose to hopefully apply and enroll with our college. Again, I hope I'm not going too fast. Trying to blow through some of that basic stuff so we can get into the program, but I'd like to move on to some finance things. So again, if you have questions, folks, feel free to put them in the chat. There's going to be lots of time for some questions and answers as we move forward, but basics about finances are next. So if you're a domestic student, you can experience the tuition of $36.20. The way that basically goes is you choose to apply. There's going to be a code later today if you were in a position to apply for this present day to avoid a $40 application fee. That aside, if you choose to register and apply, we will accept you pending your admissions process, pending seats in the program, pending completion of a high school diploma or GED. There's no set courses for this particular program for admissions. Once you are accepted, the admissions team will ask you for a $200 deposit that goes toward that $36.20. And then essentially the second step of tuition and fees is that we typically ask you for the first payment in August. It's the 4th or 5th of August for those who start in September. And then we ask you for the second half of tuition in January when you get ready to start your second semester of learning. The other fees on the screen, for probably the purposes of time, can be skipped because those are different conversations based upon different things. The biggest number that's going to grab your eye, possibly, even though it is a comment I just made about maybe moving to another part of the conversation, is a performance level computer. And we're going to comment on that a little bit later. So you do need to have a high functioning computer to be successful in this program, and approximately it's $2,300 to go and invest in a PC-based system. So once again, please don't buy a Chromebook or a MacBook. just to help your exploration, the costs, if you wanted to delve a little bit deeper, we can certainly have that offline conversation, but you can also refer to nscc.ca/fees. If you're a person who reaches into your pockets and you go like this, I don't blame on the camera, and you reach and you see I have no money in my pocket. We have the great fortune to have a lot of donors who support the NSCC. That absolutely encourages, or sorry, experiences itself with eCampus 2. This spring, summer, we've given out over just around $2 million to students who are entering the college. And then we're presently in a point where we're going to provide over $1 million to students who are currently registered. And those awards are, again, in partnership with our donor network, which are highly appreciative persons who invested their funding into the college to support learners. And so if you're registering for September 2024, for example, you'll receive a lot of different messages and a lot of great support from myself and from the NSCC awards team to help you explore the award programs. On the screen is just a quick disclaimer that unlike a university situation where if you're an applicant to a university, your academic history is not really screened in any detail for this particular program, but to the point of the scholarship program, students need to invest a little bit of time to review the opportunities for applying for these awards, because you actually do, again, need to apply. And those are something I can talk with you offline. And I see a little red dot popping up in the chat here, so. Oh, okay, it's just, sorry, it's Jason putting something in the chat. Okay, so that's the scholarships. Here we go. This is me diving deep into the IT programming credential. So here we go, my friends and family. We're going to jump in and show you a map. And right now it's blank screen because I want to do this step by step because it is kind of daunting. So first up, in case you weren't already aware, this is a 2-year program. So a September 2024 start will be our next intake. And then you move all the way through those 2 years of learning, which looks something like this. In your first year fall semester, from September to December, you have those 5 designated courses. Each of those courses is either 1 credit or 1.5 credits. You can kind of see that on the screen there, which basically means right now under our current kind of guidelines for curriculum, that's either a 60-hour course or a 90-hour course. We'll show you an example schedule in a little bit to show you how that looks on a day-to-day kind of format. Once we get past the fall semester, then you're going to flip over and you're going to jump into 6 courses for your first year winter semester. And so currently, like I said earlier, Nadia leads everything in that first year fall semester. And at the present time, we haven't scheduled everything for the first year second semester. So she may be joined by another faculty member. We will make those decisions soon. But those are the 6 courses in your first year curriculum. Again, either 1 or 1.5 credits. In one case, there's a course down below here called Professional Practice. That's a 30-hour course, or currently coded as a 0.5 credit. In the spring, there's going to be 4 things that just popped up on your screen. However, of those 4 options, keyword options, you get to pick one of those options there. So what happened last year is that myself and Blair met with Sim, because he was our first year instructor last year, and we had a conversation, a live discussion about the 4 options there. And we essentially walked all the students through it, explaining what co-op is and is not, explaining what the international placement and or the work experience placement is or is not, the expectations, the details about the schedules, the support and all that sort of thing, in contrast with another theory-based course that was called Entrepreneurship Project. And so of those 4 things you can see on your screen, everyone, again, based upon the current curriculum, you're going to pick one of those 4. Okay? And if everything goes right, your work experience or your international placement or the entrepreneurship project will end late May of 2025. The co-op extends all the way throughout the summer months. Okay? Then if everything goes according to plan and if you're enjoying everything and being successful, then wham, here comes a bunch of new courses for your second year of content. And so I chose not to animate it by semester, but basically you have 5 or 6 courses followed up with a final work experience. So again, I mentioned from the very beginning, you have 2 work experience placements if that's something you chose. You as a learner can choose to go to the exact same employer or host from that first year experience to the second year experience, or you can spread your horizons and try something new. So those are conversations again for your second year. You're going to have advising conversations with myself, with our academic chair, with your faculty, but everything in this particular screenshot right now are required courses. So unlike a university, you don't have to self-register for things in this particular program at this particular time. It's not always the case with eCampus. It's a different story. But for IT programming, we put you in that cohort or cluster. So everyone is automatically enrolled, assuming they stay on track for different reasons within the curriculum requirements. So you're eventually going to put little check marks beside each of those pretty little blue boxes. And that will in turn lead to your diploma. I have a few more things to animate on the screen, so hopefully bear with me. Every single student at the NSCC is supported through development of a portfolio. Those are things that we showcase our skills, our growth. We help frame our goals with a portfolio. I could flip over and show you mine. It's behind me on the screen over here, but for the purpose of time, I won't. A portfolio is something that your faculty will help you develop. Me as your advisor or Blair as the academic chair will absolutely help you develop your portfolio as you're moving through all your courses. So that is a graduation requirement as well as all these pretty little blue boxes. Every student also has to do 2 safety courses, and I chose not to animate them, but they do actually occur in the first year of the first semester. Those 2 courses are WMIS and OH&S. So for now, don't worry about them. Just know that you do have those 2 required safety courses. And the last little animation is that graduation, if you're a person who's registering for this fall, should occur by June 2027, if I've done this right. And my mind is a little scattered because it's open house at Lunenburg, and I've been running around a little bit with my sessions and seminars and conversations there, but it's again a two-year program. And in that little box, in case you haven't seen it, everyone, eCampus students absolutely have the option to attend a physical ceremony, to receive their credential, to be recognized on stage by our president, to have all the family and friends who've supported them attend that ceremony as well. So you can absolutely make that choice as an eCampus learner, and many did last year. Whew. I hope I'm okay. I hope you're hanging in with me. I'm going to go through some basic, more details about the curriculum. And I know Blair's still having the audio issues, so Nadia, feel free if you'd like to jump in with any of this. I'm going to keep on rolling. So the first thing, all those pretty little blue boxes from my little sarcastic comment have outcomes and objectives embedded in each one. So your faculty will set up assignments and quizzes and projects. Those can be individual or they can be group projects. They have those outcomes objectives, and they also have prerequisites and co-requisites. So as you're moving through each semester, you need to stay on the track like a train would to make progress overall toward the credential. So if you are falling off track, that is okay. It does happen. That's when people like myself or Blair or our faculty have an individual one-on-one conversation with you about the impact academically and or financially. So hopefully that won't happen because you're all attending the session and you're all going to come in very well aware of the expectations. As you're learning through your courses, everything kind of scaffolds, right? So we expect someone who's new to the program for that first year fall semester to have very little experience with IT programming, to be probably quite uncomfortable with computers in general, and that is okay. You do not need to have any kind of prior experience with industry or any sort of aptitude or other volunteerism or work history to be a successful student in this program. So as you're working along from every semester, as you're making that jump from term to term to term, led by courses through currently Nadia, Sim, and Russell, we're going to increase the rigor, increase the expectation as you're moving along. So the learning will scaffold. One task will lead to the next. It's like a ladder. We do, like I said earlier, don't ask for any applicant to have experience in industry, academic experience from another college or university, or from industry or volunteerism. However, if you're a person who does, the college has a whole program called PLAR. It stands for Prior Learning Assessment and Recognition. We like to abbreviate a lot of things at the college. I can have a conversation with you, as can Blair later on, about what PLAR is. This session where it's being recorded, if you were to click that little blue underlink, you would bring right to a seminar session about what PLAR is. And we do encourage, again, like you're working through course by course by course, that you're going to develop that portfolio with something that you're proud of, something that you were challenged by, something that really kind of opened your mind to the industry. So again, that's one of those graduation requirements. And currently the faculty continue to rely on open source materials, so we don't really have any, actually we have no physical textbooks. There was conversation about one ebook, but in the end of it, SIM decided to go with open source materials for everything. So that's a nice piece of environmental impact, and it's also a cost for students not to have to worry about. Okay. Still hoping you're with me. Still hope this isn't too dry or drab. I still hope that you're not kind of tired of my voice. This is a schedule for the current students who are registered in the fall semester. It's a screen grab from September. I purposely did that so it shows you the early points of that semester. So like we said from the very beginning, everyone, this program has synchronous delivery, which means we have live interactive classes. The expectation of us as your advisor, Blair, the academic chair, and all your faculty is that once you choose to apply, become accepted, and go through the registration processes, that you need to expect that you're going to have live interactive classes where you're going to have to physically make a change in your life to attend all of the conversations that are occurring on this class schedule or the new iteration of it for 2024-25. But basically what we've done, in case you haven't already noticed, we have a 5-day-a-week format, Monday through Friday. 8:30 start is pretty common. There's a few gaps in the schedule, but most days you're going to wrap up your live conversations around 3:30 p.m. This again shows the fall semester for first year. So inside that screenshot should be 5 distinct subjects that occur from that September to December window. I think I slipped this in earlier in my conversation, but I get talking to myself in this environment. And I'm pretty sure I said this, but once your payment is made for tuition in August, you're going to be automatically enrolled into your courses from our registrar team or our other eCampus colleagues. So you don't have to worry about self-registration at this particular point. As the advisor, what I've done in the past, and I'll continue to do in the future, is provide every student who's been accepted a number of details over the spring and summer to get you organized and get you ready. But in July, we should have a plan for what the schedule will look like. And I provide that to all of our students so that you can help kind of figure out where things are with work, how to make arrangements and changes to your childcare regiment, or volunteerism or sleep habits. Because again, these are live interactive classes with the expectation that you are there with us. Still a lot of Jeremy. Put a little thing in here for Nadia. Would you like to add anything to this, my friend? Are you able to explain how you sort of moderate classes in that live environment?
Yeah, so just to give a hint about like our daily classes, so it is exactly like the classrooms, but with more accessibility. So there is like opportunity for the students to be working in a small groups, virtual small groups, and also we are able to engage like very quickly, check the other screens. We can share screens, we can do troubleshooting with the codes, with everything. So it is more closer when it is online. We are able to do more exercise, more practices, and this is how it looks like. And I see that students are very like energetic. They are very excited to start and to learn more about like the real world examples. So we are able to participate or to work together on solving some examples of what it looks like if they are working in this field. So this is like sample of the day. Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much for jumping in there. It's great. Okay, so these are small little blue boxes, and they probably won't work because again we had the mic issue, I believe, at Blair, which is probably not rectified, and I don't see Sim here as an active participant. So what I try to do is avoid the Jeremy, talk, right? So maybe I'll toss it to Nadia there. Would you mind commenting on your industry experience and how you facilitate your course and how you kind of connect industry to the academic environment?
Sorry, it's Jason here. I'm going to jump in. Nadia, you seem to be muted right now. I'm going to unmute you, and I believe we have Blair back when you're done.
Perfect. Awesome.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, I wanted to say that because of my previous experience in different roles related to the IT programming, that made it easier to me to give some examples from, as I mentioned, from some problems or like issues that we face in the business or in the market, and that allows them to imagine how they can work on solving problem related to the IT programming. So this is how it looks like. We usually talk about the topic and then we give an example and then we work on a solution. So it is like a challenge every day for each chapter. So this is how it looks like. Yeah.
That's great. And apparently I can't spell, so if Blair can see us and hear us, I'm not sure if you're able to comment on maybe what surprises you or what you hear from your academic chair's kind of standpoint that may be otherwise unaware of an eCampus student, or what surprises them every year, if you wouldn't mind sharing something like that, my friend.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jason. I know we've been texting back and forth that my mic wasn't working. So yes, nice to see everybody. Sorry that I couldn't comment earlier. And I think, Jeremy, you've done an excellent job, as has Nadia, explaining the difference between what an on-campus activity would look like with eCampus. It really comes down, I think, to the fact that you have to have practice self-discipline in order to attend those classes and make sure that you're being proactive and an advocate for your studies with your faculty, such as Nadia, Sim, and Russell, so that you can ask questions, reach out to them via Teams or email or any other form that you can to get the clarification, as opposed to waiting for that to happen or assuming you might run into Nadia in the hallway. Well, there's no hallway to walk down, it's virtual. So that's the biggest difference, which I'm sure makes sense to most of us. And this is an environment that does lend itself well to certain ways that people learn, and certain other people may not enjoy it as much. But Nadia, to her credit, and I know I speak for Sim and Russell as well, they make it as interactive as possible, as you just heard Nadia say about the way that they take real life situations and turn it into what you're applying when you're learning, so you don't ever think that you're not learning this with a purpose. There's a reason why the curriculum's designed this way. It's designed in consultation with industry experts such as Nadia, as Sim and Russell, to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So it's a great program and a great experience, and I hope that you'll find that if you choose to join us.
Yeah, actually, you said something really good just there too, Blair. You said lots of great things.
Well, yeah, usually I get one out every time I speak. Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, we both experienced the program last year, and then this year the curriculum's updated, right? So this already shows how fast this program moves along, and we want all our students to have the most current version of the curriculum. So yeah, that's great. Maybe if you're okay, Blair, there's that second little bubble over there about how we've also kind of worked physically on campuses, but eCampus. Would you mind kind of sharing maybe some of those benefits from your perspective?
Well, the benefits that I found, there's benefits and limitations, because as I mentioned, I'm a very social person. I love interacting with people in all formats, this included. But meeting people in the hallway and catching up, I don't have the same ability to do that with Nadia as I would with one of the faculty that I work with here, which I think is a limitation, because I always enjoy chatting with Nadia as well as with Sim and with Russell. So that in itself is one difference, but ultimately it's the connectivity too that we have. For example, if Nadia needs to get a hold of me and she can send me a quick Teams message, I'm usually pretty good to get back, whereas somebody teaching in here at this physical campus, they may have students in front of them that they're not able to reach out to me and get as an immediate response. And the same can be true for students. If students are in class and they would like to ask a question of either faculty or of me as an academic chair, or Jeremy as you as an advisor, then they may not get the same turnaround time, whereas we are pretty tied in with our devices, our computer, our phones, and you can get, I would think, answers a little bit quicker from an eCampus standpoint. And that's not to say that we don't try to accommodate those physical campus requests as fast as we can, but we see the ones from eCampus potentially a little bit faster. But I don't think there's really any benefit either way. It all depends on how you like to learn and how you like to interact. And if you enjoy this type of interaction, as Nadia mentioned, she and Sim and Russell are going to do everything to engage you in this format as to get you psyched and excited to do the program. So I can only do so much with this, but I know Nadia and her colleagues are excellent at getting you more excited about listening to somebody talk, as I'm sure that I am doing to you right now.
Perfect. Well, that might be a good segue to that fifth block over there. I know Sim's unable to join us right now, but that's okay. I think maybe now you kind of teased it too, but are you able to share how you've developed that sense of community within your program so far?
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, I have like my hallway, my virtual hallway. So I usually do that in my Teams, Microsoft Teams, and also I feel for some reason that online is more closer. So I am very closer to my students. I can get the message from them anytime. I can respond to their questions anytime. So I feel we are more closer. We are, I can share my screen anytime I want. They can do the same. So we are connected. We are like our homes right now seem to be connected. So I can hear something like they can share something, like they can talk about something. So I mean that we are like a family and friends. It is not just like a classroom, and once you leave, everything will be stopped. So it is a continuous journey, and it is very exciting. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Perfect. I don't know, Blair, if you're able, like, do you remember where some of our students went for their work experiences or co-ops this past year? Just out of curiosity. I had a few.
No, unfortunately, I don't, and it's too bad that Sim wouldn't be here to comment on that. But Nadia, maybe you could speak to the different industries and different workplaces that students could be exposed to with regard to work experience from your perspective.
Yeah, honestly, as I tell the students in each class, so each course like is a job. So if we are talking about, like, for example, for the first year students, or the first course, like database fundamentals, so it is something, it is like the gate for many jobs, like job opportunities in banks, in everywhere. So you can have this like opportunity in doing or being like a database administrator or database designer. Also for the programming itself, everything right now is like it is a crucial right now. It is important in any industry to have like a programmer. So there is like opportunity in each course. So it is just we are offering like a basket of opportunities. So they can pick which course or which field that they feel like closer to their like mindset. They are able to like add value. So we had some exercises, like some assignment, where we can find like the job opportunities for each topics that we are studying. So we found like a huge number of opportunities here in Nova Scotia and outside Nova Scotia even. Yes.
Great. That's awesome. See, Jeremy, that's a much better answer than I would have ever given. Yeah,
me too.
Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah, I know that a few folks with eCampus last year, they went to a physical like office building and worked in a physical setting, and other ones worked remotely. So it worked pretty well, and we do our best to support students based upon where they live, and also what, like Nadia mentioned, what your interest may be. So I think I'm going to move on in the interest of time here, just to kind of wrap up with a couple of quick things, and then hopefully we can see if there's any questions from our current participants. So I wanted to thank you for taking some time out of your afternoon here to join us for this information session. Hope you found it slightly hopeful, at least my ramblings and musings. And so again, if you are interested in this program, we start every September. So applications are welcomed at any point for the next intake. And from my understanding, every registrant who's come to this live session here today or have connected to the eCampus open house presence, we have a little website there with a code released to you so that you can apply for free. And to my understanding, you have to be physically located in Canada for that code to work. So in the event that you're an international student or outside of Nova Scotia, or outside of Canada rather, just maybe on holiday at beach in Tahiti, that $40 code won't work. And we do ask, the admissions asks us to make sure that when you choose to apply with that code, that you use the same email address that you used today for this webinar. And that will carry that code forward without any kind of issue. In case you weren't aware, the college does not have a designated deadline to apply. Instead, what we do is operate in a first come, first qualified, first serve admission process. So every campus has its own capacity, and admissions is currently going through the applications that were not admitted last year because we did have a wait list. So we are encouraging you, if you found this session helpful, and if you are interested in this industry, we would really encourage you to apply as soon as possible. And that way you can hopefully avoid being potentially waitlisted. And I'm hoping that we have the wherewithal for folks to be brave and to ask us any questions. And if that's in the chat, or if they have the option, I never thought to actually ask Jason if they can use a mic to ask. That was my last thing, and just to show you that myself and Blair can be contacted by email. So it's essentially first and last name, so jeremy.porter or blair.lipset with the nscc.ca. Nadia is amazing. Sim is absolutely fantastic, and Russell is also awesome as well, our faculty friends. But I've purposely left their names and their emails off of this one just because I want to make sure that they can still keep their priority on our current students working through the courses. So myself and Blair would absolutely welcome any questions that anyone has now or later.
And if we can't answer them, we'll reach out to the respective faculty member to do so. Yep.
Exactly. Good point, sir. So I think that's actually a session. So if I close this down, if I understand this all right, you can see a turtle.
Yeah, exactly.
That is my desktop, everyone.
Yeah.
Turn on the chat window so I can see it now. I've had that minimized this entire time. So if there's anyone who is brave to ask some questions, feel free to use our chat. And we can go from there.
I'm just glad that my mic started working. Man, I was talking to you for like 5 minutes and nothing happened. I was thought, well, why are you ignoring me?
Perfect. Okay, so I want to come. So some people may be trying to figure out how to use the chat or are nervous asking those questions. That's okay too. I find it kind of funny, actually. I didn't rehearse this presentation, right? And we finished with 7 or 8 minutes left. So gosh almighty. You think I've done something similar like this before? And I think Jason's still with us. Are you able to see any questions, Jason, that we can answer or talk through? I don't see any.
Nope, there are no questions currently in the chat.
Awesome. All right.
Well, that just means you did a great job, Jeremy. Right?
That's it. Raises all
For you and
around.
Nadia, no questions. We're good.
Perfect.
Thank you, Nadia, for being a part of this.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thank you so much. I enjoy so
problem.
much. Thank you.
Perfect.
And you too, Jeremy, but I can thank you in person when I see you like in 5 minutes in the hallway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get to see Nadia as much. But I will try to make a point to come and see you sometime when you've got some time, Nadia. We'll go out and grab a coffee when I'm in town so we can catch up that way.
That's great. Thank you.
And no problem. I'll let you know when a good time. It's been very busy for me the last month and a half, as I know it has been for you. But when things settle and I've got a little bit more time to make the trip, I'll give you fair warning and we'll work around your schedule.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so for those participants, again, jeremy.porter@nscc.ca or blair.lipset@nscc.ca. And there also is an eCampus.info email account that you can try as well. So if you do have any questions, if you found this content helpful, or if there's things that were unclear, again, feel free to connect and we'll have a conversation through video. We can use a platform that I'm more comfortable using, or we can connect by phone, text, email, and maybe carrier pigeon. Who knows?
No, I don't think we'll do that one. Yeah, they're
Keep
not
trying.
reliable. Yeah, we'll go with the, since this is IT programming, we'll go with something more IT related, I think.
It's a very serious place around here all the time, everybody. All right, I'm going to possibly
They
sign off, I
totally
guess.
got that. They totally got that.
All right. So I guess I'm going to sign off, but again, feel free to connect. Okay, everyone?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a
Bye,
good
guys.
one.
See you later.